information, how can we set up content management to be something new, to be something different? And one of the ways that we can do that is instead of logging into a siloed content management application, even though we know it's connected behind the scenes, why not bring it into applications that users already know and love, such as Microsoft Outlook? Very popular applications include, bringing it into the line of business system, whether it's homegrown or purchased. I can be on a transactional screen and click a button and pull up all the related documents in OnBase. So this is Microsoft Outlook, and as you can see at the top, we've simply inserted an OnBase tab into the Outlook ribbon. So whether I'm scanning content in or searching for it or looking at those folders or the dashboard reporting that I saw earlier, it's all right here. David, I know you said you were in compliance. We have a very popular application within OnBase that we call Policy and Procedure Administration. So pushing out some of the required materials that people need to read and acknowledge. They can even take a short test along with it. And then, you're minimizing the organization's risk and, maximizing employee accountability. And then you can get reporting on who's read what and when those policies need to be updated and all that stuff. So we'll start at the beginning with capture. Certainly if we're talking about paper, that's happening on a scanner, likely that's being sent to brainware, but there's also pieces of content that enter the organization via fax, via email, via some sort of electronic transfer, and we have tools to bring that content in. Whether it's in an automated fashion, a very popular application is a tool that we have called Mailbox Importer. Everything sent to greensboroauto.com or contact us immediately flows into OnBase. And it's in OnBase, and then the technology starts answering the questions. And then the person gets involved, and it sends those little automated emails. But sometimes it might come into an individual email inbox. For example, this is an HR application, but imagine you need to gather information about a customer, or a vendor, or an account, or a project, any type of entity, and you want that content to be placed in OnBase. We want to identify what it is, and we want to give it some structure. So here we have an email from Sam Hastings. He's an employee, he could be a customer, it doesn't matter. The email, we're not gonna worry about the HR application as much as we wanna get the email and that attached document into OnBase so that we can do something with it. Now in our HR scenario, he's filled out an application online, an electronic form posted to the website, not a PDF that you fill out and you scan, but an actual electronic form built in OnBase that maybe you attach some documents to. In this case, he's neglected, he failed to attach them, or there were some follow-up materials, and he sent us an email. So one thing we can do in OnBase to import this content is actually drag and drop it to an Outlook folder. And this is important because this is how we manage our own inboxes. We sort based on project, based on person, based on vendor. And if you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, I didn't enter a single piece of metadata, yet OnBase was able to intelligently identify what the content is and information about it. So now we have applied structure to that formerly unstructured content. So we talked earlier when we spoke of brainware. In some cases, brainware will be at work. This is actually just native OnBase capabilities that can give us this information. And why do we care about keywords so much and metadata so much? Well, that's what drives retrieval or search, retention, so we know how long to keep things. It's what drives our reporting. What is the status of different items or the dollar amount of different items? That's actually what drives security around the content. Is it part of this department? Are you a member of that department or that group? So this metadata is vital in order to keep content connected and revised. And you'll see all of the metadata, all the keywords that we were able to capture for free. In OnBase, we actually have these types of keywords down here that begin with a capital MAIL. Whenever something is imported from fax or email, we automatically can capture that content so that you can use it later without you having to do any other configuration other than place these out-of-the-box keyword types on the document or the content type that you create. So in this case, we are going to import our email as a cover letter, just for our example purposes. And then we will actually import immediately. You can see that it toggled this document type now to the resume, and it's going to grab this attached document and bring it in. Sometimes you might get an email that has multiple attachments. We even have opportunities to combine those to a single file so that it's easy to scroll through, or maybe they're individual documents. Either way, behind the scenes, we can be triggering that folder creation. Remember I showed earlier how they create and populate themselves. or they're starting the workflow process, or behind the scenes we're sending out a notification that says, we have the application and the resume and the cover letter for Sam Hastings, what do you want to do? So we're going back to our different methods of digital transformation all the time. And now that content is in the system. Just to give you another example, that was a little more interactive. You know, maybe the user kind of drags and drops to a folder and we automatically import it, capturing all that same stuff, but the user never sees it. I showed it to you so you could see the magic, really the computer science, it's not so much magic, that's behind the scenes to capture that information. And maybe the user adds one or two more things, but we have automated fashions to do it too. You can see now we've brought the content in. So now the content is in OnBase, and of course we're doing all this stuff behind the scenes in OnBase. Maybe we're updating another third-party system. Anything I'm showing here, we have an API behind the scenes to do just that. So whether it's an import or a search or a retain, or I've just grabbed and collected some data, use that to update another system, we have an API toolkit and library. We've got web services. Many of our APIs are RESTful that can do all of the same kind of work a human would do behind the scenes as these applications